Diction happens at the tip of the tongue and the teeth.
Mouth sounds happen at the side of the tongue and the mouth.
I was going to keep this part in, but you're making it unlistenable. We had our photography club meeting on Tuesday. Neither Shelby or I won this month's challenge, which isn't surprising because I don't think either of us were that happy with our pictures.
I think we should do a drum roll. I should be like, and Shelby and I both lost. And then like crashing cymbals.
We didn't even place.
Correct.
That's okay. I'm not that happy with my photos, so.
I liked my photo a lot.
Okay.
But I liked other photos more.
Yeah, so. Yours was better. Our new challenge for this month is sunsets.
And sunrises.
And or sunrises, whatever you prefer. Which I've already gotten one photo up on the website, so I'll link that below. It's so-so. I don't know, it's good, but I hope to get a better photo.
I've never considered myself good at taking sunset and sunrise photos. I just don't think I'm good at getting the right levels.
What do you mean the right levels?
I don't know. I don't know what I mean. I don't know terms and things. But regardless, I don't really intend to be up and outside and doing a thing during a sunset or a sunrise.
I mean, sunset happens at like 8, so it's pretty easy to...
Yes, but I want to be in my house in my pajamas. Like, I want to be home, and I can't take a good sunset picture from my home. So...
Well, if you're not willing to leave your house, it's going to be difficult to take a lot of pictures.
I'm talking about particularly at night.
At 8 p.m.? That's barely even night.
We went to bed at like 8:30 last night.
Yeah, and it was amazing, but it was unusual.
Yes. I would like to be in bed by 9 every night, and if I'm...
Well, that's easy.
And
yeah,
if
you
I'm
can take
like
photos
out on location...
On location.
At 8, taking pictures, and then by the time I come home, I'll have to shower again because it's summer here. That'd be disgusting. And then get all ready for bed, then it's going to be late. And I'm tired by 8 o'clock.
You're making this so much more difficult than it would have to be.
All that to say, I don't imagine that I will get a sunset or sunrise photo that I'm particularly happy with.
I hope you submit something.
We'll see. We'll see what I do.
Shelby has been quite the event organizer this week.
I wouldn't say I've been good at it, but I have done it. It is done and complete.
It was successful.
It was fine.
It was a total success. We went to the DFW Metro to celebrate my sister's birthday. A band that she liked had some tour dates there, and we were all able to get off work and just kind of make it a day trip.
Well, we took half days.
Yeah, half days. Yeah, so we left almost exactly right on time at 12:30. We got to the Metro around 2:30 or 3, so we beat the traffic for the most part. Yeah, I feel like it was a successful evening.
It was fine. We stopped for... Well, first we went to a bookstore in Denton. And Nate, you and your dad went to go guitar shopping or something.
Yeah.
So the rest of us went to this really cool bookstore in Denton and just kind of walked around and flipped through books and, did the whole bookstore thing. And that was really nice.
My dad had a college friend that lived in Denton when I was growing up. So we would go maybe every few years to this bookstore in Denton.
I have learned that your family has 2 special bookstores. This one in Denton, called Recycled Books and Records. I think that's what it's called. I think that's its name. And then one in Mesilla, New Mexico, which is kind of near Las Cruces. And I don't remember the name of it. Do you remember?
No, I'll see if... I'm sure that we can find the titles and put them in the show notes. So
I'm sure.
You can look there.
but they're both kind of similar. They're, used and kind of indie books. The one in Mesilla, it's just like you just walk in and someone just took a box of books and just started throwing them on shelves.
Yeah, that one's a little more helter-skelter.
But it's really cool. It's in a really neat building, historic building in a historic town. And at Recycled Books, it's generally well organized, but it's just so, so, so big that it still kind of has that overwhelming feeling. But it's really neat. I liked it.
Yeah, both of those are very important to the family. That bookstore is in the downtown square in Denton.
Which is gorgeous.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful courthouses I've ever seen.
It's really interesting how all of these small Texas towns all have the exact same setup for their downtown. They're basically all a square, probably about the size of a normal block, maybe a little bit longer. And they have, historic buildings around them. And then right in the middle is a big old stone courthouse, usually about 2 or 3 stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks the same way across every Texas town, except for Nacogdoches. I don't know what happened to our courthouse. I don't know if the Courthouse Fairy didn't come by our town or forgot, but we just have this visitor center, which is cool, but the architecture isn't near as impressive.
Yeah. We make up for it in our original red brick streets.
Yes.
So that's neat. We generally do have a really good downtown. We have a good square.
Yeah, we have an above average downtown.
But our courthouse spot, kind of the center of our square, is severely lacking.
Anyways, so this bookstore is in the Denton downtown square, and we also ate dinner at a pizza place called J&J's Pizza. They have both Chicago and New York style pizza. We just got Chicago, but it was extremely good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I was a little bit concerned because they only had a 3.5 star rating on Yelp, but I don't know why they have that rating because it was like easily 4.5 stars. Like it was very good.
It was really good, and it was a good atmosphere. All the staff was good. I mean, I didn't have any complaints about it.
Yeah. It wasn't as thick of a Chicago pizza as you would imagine, but it was still, your usual thick crust, sauce on top.
Yeah. Yeah, the main Chicago thing about it was the sauce on top, not necessarily the depth of the dish.
But it did have a lot of good crust to it.
Really, really good crust.
So from there, we just went a few blocks over and got to the concert, which was at Zera Coffee.
I think it's Zera.
Oh, Zera?
I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that. The coffee shop is actually run as a mission fundraiser. So all of the profits that are made there go towards a halfway house for people recently released from prison, which is kind of a cool ministry.
Mm-hmm.
The owner used to be a drug addict and used to be on the street. And after he got out of that, he wanted to help other people. So the main part of the coffee shop looks more or less like every other coffee shop you've ever been into, just your normal space. But then one of the walls is actually 2 big sliding barn doors, and it opens up into a much bigger room adjacent to it that has a stage and has chairs and has a sound system and, all the things you need for a good concert.
Yeah, so they host church there on Sunday mornings and then have other events occasionally. So this was one of those other events, and it was really neat. It was a really cool venue. It was a good concert, but there were a couple hiccups.
The band was Rivers and Robots. They're a UK acoustic band, I guess. I'm not sure what genre you would call them.
They wouldn't be acoustic. They'd be kind of an indie, like
Soft.
a soft electric.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The big issue was that the AC had broken either the night before or the day of, and they had called out 2 different companies to try to fix it, and I don't think anyone had the parts for it. So there was no working AC. If you've ever been to Texas in August, that is terrible.
Yeah. It wasn't a particularly big room, but it was packed pretty full.
Yeah,
I know at one point they had to bring out some more chairs, which kind of filled up some of the walkways that they'd made because there were just a lot of people that came. So, all the people in the small room with no AC, there wasn't really any kind of moving air, so it got really hot.
yeah. At one point, Shelby and I just stepped outside for a few minutes because it was really hot. It was actually cooler outside than it was in the room because outside there was a bit of a breeze.
Yeah. I feel like the heat itself wouldn't have been so bad if there was just some air movement or something. They had tiny tiny little fans like what you might have in
On your porch.
on your porch or like in a very small office or bedroom or something like that. But nothing at all that was really suitable for anything.
Right.
They had a couple, again, small, home sized, oscillating fans that did basically nothing. They were working very, very hard to make it as comfortable of an environment as possible. They were, giving away cups of ice and they'd put out a bunch of, water pitchers and they were just doing everything that they could. But I mean, like you said, August in Texas, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. They actually ended up keeping the barn doors between the coffee shop and the event area open. And it was a bit cooler in the coffee shop, and you could really hear all the stuff that was going on in the room. So we ended up spending almost the whole concert actually out in the coffee area. Which the only problem with that was that there was a pretty good amount of talking there, and I think it was kind of ruining some of the experience for the people that were in the event center just, trying to hear the concert and nothing else.
Yeah, I think with it being kind of a separate space, once people came out of the venue area itself and into the coffee shop, they felt like there was some separation. So they were no longer acting like they would if they were just at the concert.
Right.
Since this coffee shop is a pretty big part of the Denton culture, it seems, and it clearly has a really big community around it. There were a ton of people that were just kind of coming in and out that were, friends of staff and just kind of friends of the coffee shop and weren't there for the concert at all.
Yeah, this was definitely a big social event just as much as it was a concert.
Yeah. And so it was those people in particular that were just really talking without any sort of just not really bearing in mind that they were being heard fully throughout the rest of the venue. So I know from talking with the rest of your family that was still in the venue that it made it difficult to hear the actual concert. And I hate it because the people in the venue space, like the rest of your family, were choosing to stay in there where it was hotter because they really, really were there super for the music. Like, that's why they were there. They wanted to be in it and experience that fully. And that kind of got lessened because of other people who weren't there as much for that reason. I hated that not only was it hot, but also the music was kind of being interrupted through the whole show by the rest of the people in the back. So I tried to make sure that while I was back there, I was being just respectful of the rest of the space, that this is a show and it's not a social club.
Yeah, and they had even closed the coffee shop down to the public. So the only people that were there getting coffee were ticket holders.
Yeah.
But I think despite that, it was still fun overall for the family. Unfortunately, my little sister couldn't go, which I know she felt bad about that because everyone else was going. But she had a sleepover with a friend, so hopefully she won't be too bummed.
I'm sure she didn't even think of us while we were gone.
She might have. We drove straight home after the concert. Okay, well, not straight home. We stopped for some Braum's ice cream.
Yeah, but that
Because-
doesn't even count.
Yeah, we can't go to a place that has Braum's and not get Braum's. It's just so good.
But it was a really quick trip. I mean,
Yeah, it was in and out.
on our way up there, we were at that bookstore because they needed to go shop for guitars. And then we went to the pizza shop. But every place that we didn't really know how long we were going to be there. We didn't really know when we were going to get to Denton. We didn't really know when they were going to be done shopping and when we could have dinner. We finished dinner and went straight to the venue. Left the concert. I mean, as soon as they finished that last song, popped into Braum's, popped back out, and drove the rest of the way home.
Yeah, we didn't get home until about 2 a.m., which is pretty late, especially for us.
Yeah, especially considering that I
like to be in your pajamas at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I want to be home in my PJs, ready for bed at any moment by 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So I got about 13 hours of sleep the following night.
Yep, we both slept a lot. I also slept in the car on the way home, but...
Yeah, I drove both ways.
Yeah.
Which is how I like it. I like to drive. I'm not trying to complain that oh, no one else would drive.
I don't not like to drive, but I like to sleep more, so...
Shelby and I do have some big podcast news.
Big news.
Big week. This will be the last episode of Highlights.
Yep.
Both of us have learned a ton from making this, both as speakers and as audio editors. But I don't think that we have enough to talk about in this current format.
I agree.
So instead of kind of keeping on with what we have right now, we are going to transition to a new show.
That we think will be better. We hope will be better.
That we think will be better, yeah. So we are going to be making a video podcast revolving around Reddit. Reddit is our favorite social media.
We've talked about it a bit before on this show.
We've talked about it arguably too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't really have a name for it yet. We're still working on that. It looks to me like Reddit Cast is still available, but that might be a little bit too on the nose.
We're brainstorming.
Yeah, we're still in the brainstorming stages, but we kind of felt like we needed to close Highlights before we could really jump all the way into the Reddit podcast. We could call it that. We could call it the Reddit podcast.
Or we could also not.
We know it will be a video podcast. I'm not sure if it's also going to be posted just as audio. There's a lot of parts of Reddit that are very visual. I mean, a lot of Reddit is photos and videos and GIFs and GIFs. And so we're not sure if it will really work as a standalone audio podcast, but it'll for sure be a video.
Yeah.
We are thinking of a few different segments for it. One possibility is that we would kind of review a subreddit. You know, we kind of do a deep dive into the history of the subreddit and some of the top posts from all time. And, you know, a lot of subreddits have a very particular kind of culture or very particular in-jokes. So we will probably do some segments about that. We also thought about talking about the top posts of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have any particular thoughts about them. We might even branch off and each of us would study our own subreddits. But it'll definitely be a new challenge, especially with video. I'm always joking about having a video podcast, and Shelby has long rolled her eyes at me. And now you'll be able to see that on video.
Great.
We're not committing to a timeline, at least at the beginning. I would like to still continue a weekly schedule, but video does take a bit more work, so we are definitely not going to promise that.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure when the first episode will be up. We have a bit of brainstorming to do, and we need to get our cameras ready and figure out technical things, and there's a lot to do. But we're really excited about it.
Yes, we are. we'll just kind of see how it goes.
Are there any parting words we want to say about highlights? Are there any particular lessons we've learned or surprising things, or I don't know? Any last words?
I don't have anything.
Okay. It just feels like we're pushing it off the ship. It feels like we're on a gangplank. And instead of asking the podcast for its final words, we're just pushing it.
Do you have any final words?
No.
Okay, well, I don't know why this is all on me.
I don't know. Cut all that.
Just cut this whole episode.
I don't really have any...
The very first intro. Well, this is our last one. And we have nothing. So, see you next time.
I don't really have any final parting words for highlights. It's been a lot of fun, and we've honestly really learned a lot. Hopefully, we will have chosen a name for the YouTube channel that we'll be uploading on, so I will try to put a link to the channel in the show notes. We would love for all of you to subscribe.
Yeah.
And I'll also go ahead and commit to making one more announcement episode whenever we do get our first thing posted. So there'll be another little update. So if you want to stay subscribed, whenever we actually have an episode to show you, we can make another episode and you can see it there.
Yeah. Maybe we can post like a little trailer for it, like a clip of the episode.
Yeah.
I like that.
We'll do something. You can check in the show notes. You can look in the future. You can also find us at Hey Deans on either Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. We'll try to be around. And certainly you can continue subscribing to the website and seeing all of our photos. We'll probably talk about some of those on the Reddit podcast as well. There's probably a lot of elements that will carry on into the new show. It'll just have a little bit more structure to it.
Yeah, which I'm excited about. I like structure for a show.
If you like Reddit, I hope that this will be a good podcast for you. And if you would like to learn more about Reddit, I hope that it would also fill that role.
And if you like us, we will be on the show. So
we'll bring the same A+ talent to Reddit that we brought to whatever this is.
Highlights? This show is called Highlights.
Well, I meant like our lives.
Oh.
And if the Reddit show sucks, then we'll do a different show.
We'll just keep going until we find something we like.
Yeah. But I honestly, I think it has a pretty good shot. All right. I don't know any other way to end it.
Neither do I.
So I guess we'll do our usual sign off.
Yep.
See you next time
on our Reddit podcast.